former Canadian soldier who is being held in Afghanistan has been released by the Taliban. David Lavery went missing from the Kabul airport after helping over 100 people get out of Afghanistan during the fall of Kabul. In a statement, Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly has spoken with Lavery. He arrived safely in Qatar from Afghanistan. Joly thanked her Qatari counterpart for helping in the release. Lavery's dedication to helping Afghan migrants earned him the nickname Canadian Dave. And for more reaction on this news, we are joined live by the Afghan Support Director of the Veterans Transition Network, Tim Laidler. Well, Tim, first off, how are you feeling tonight? We know you're a close friend of Dave, and he did so much with the organization.
Yeah, we're all so relieved across the entire team of the Veterans Transition Network. And for all the people who know Dave, everyone's just ecstatic that this is finally over. You know, it's been over 2 months that we hadn't heard from Dave. The last message we got was on Remembrance Day as he was flying into Afghanistan. And again, just so much relief across the network and the family and everybody who knows Dave well that he's out and he's free tonight.
Take us through what the last 2.5 months have looked like for the network when it comes to trying to get information on how he's doing and just how to get him out.
Yeah, it's been quite chaotic. As we know, the Taliban are designated, the entire government is designated as a terrorist organization by Canada. So we have no Canadian embassy there. And it also makes it very difficult for the Canadian government or anybody to actually communicate with the Taliban to find out if he's doing well or any normal, something that would happen in a normal diplomatic situation. So the Canadian government and all of us had to rely on friends in the region, and the Qatari government in this case has stepped up and secured his release. It sounds like we're waiting anxiously to hear directly from Dave, who might be able to share some more details on everything that went down. But over the last 2 months, it's been, here's some positive news. We're hearing from official channels, we're hearing through unofficial channels that he might be released soon, and then it doesn't happen. And then coming up to Christmas, everyone was excited that maybe he'd be home for Christmas. It didn't happen. It was just this roller coaster of up, down, all over the place. And again, we're just so glad that it's finally over.
And so many people know Dave as a Canadian hero. Like we mentioned, he has the nickname Canadian Dave. He's done so much humanitarian work over in Afghanistan. Tell us more about the work he was doing with the network and how he's really made a difference.
Yeah, so when Afghanistan fell, he was there at the airport. And it was, thousands of people we were supporting through the Veterans Transition Network and with Dave, whether we're giving them safe houses, we're helping them on their applications to come to Canada. And Dave himself was at Abbeygate. He was right where that suicide bomb went off at the very end. He was helping people who had to wade through waist deep of human sewage and sludge to get their way onto the airfield and climb over barbed wire fences. Dave was there day in and day out, pulling people through who were wearing the red scars, indicating that they were approved to come to Canada. From there, he went back, with his team and helped out through all the donations the Veterans Transition Network received to continue to help our Afghan allies, our interpreters and their families make it to third countries and eventually onto Canada. It was thousands of people that we ended up helping directly and indirectly through Dave's team on the ground, and then himself actually going into Afghanistan with all the proper documentation to do business there and to provide direct support to some of these migrants is what he was doing in Afghanistan this time when, unfortunately, he was detained.
And the news of Dave's release is very fresh. We imagine he has a long road to recovery and recuperation. How will the next steps look like to make sure he is supported during this time?
Yeah, well, there's the emotional piece and reconnecting with family. That's going to go on for the next few days and weeks. There's the reality that, this was his livelihood, right? His entire business. He had spent 11 years in Afghanistan working before the fall. And then since the fall, he had been working with a number of clients and NGOs to do great humanitarian work there. Presumably, though, this is now coming to a screeching halt, and he's going to be rebuilding his life and rebuilding his livelihood that he, put on the line for Canada to do this extra work to bring the migrants here. So we're going to work with Dave. We think there's a great story to tell. We're probably going to reach out to Canadians through a GoFundMe at some point, and I'm trying to push us to do buy Canadian Dave a beer so we can all show our support for huge sacrifices they've made, not only personally and through their health, but financially. It's a big hit to his whole team.
Yeah, and imagine with everything, he will have unlimited beer for life. Well, thank you so much, Tim. We appreciate your time today, and we are so glad to hear this news.
Thank you so much.